Apaches. There's 3 of them. Harvesters and choppers. Cool. Oh, good morning from Alabama, northern Alabama. We're at the Welcome Center on I-65, just south of the Alabama-Tennessee state line. That's where I spent the night. And look at what's behind me. That's a mock-up of a Saturn V rocket. Now, why would there be a mock-up of a Saturn V rocket at a rest area in northern Alabama? And the answer is that because it's not too far, we're not too far south of here, a little bit east, is the Huntsville Space Center, Redstone Arsenal. And that's, I don't remember the correct name of the Space Center there at Huntsville, but that is where all this rocketry development was done by among other people, Wernher von Braun, the German rocket scientist, and then where they developed a lot of the, the space mission stuff. And so they did a lot of testing and development at Huntsville Space Center. And as soon as I remember what the heck the name is, I'll put it up there on the video. But I was stationed at Redstone Arsenal in 1981. And, that was at the beginning of the space shuttle program in the very early 80s. And so they did a lot of the testing there. In fact, I didn't see it at the time, but they had the space shuttle come in on the back of a 747 and land there at the airport at the Huntsville Space Center. Anyway, they also tested rocket engines there, and I remember hearing and feeling those rocket engines when they were firing them off on their test stands at the far end of the base. It had to be 10 miles away, and you could hear and feel those things. It was like a low intensity earthquake. For minutes. It was kind of neat. Years later, in the late 90s and early 2000s, I lived down on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi near Bay St. Louis, and they had the Stennis Space Center down there, and they also tested the rocket engines down there as well. Again, this was like 30 years later, and we were 10-15 miles straight line distance from where they were doing that testing at our house. Our house was 10 to 15 miles straight line distance from that, and we could hear and feel that there. So anyway, so you've probably heard of Space Camp. That's a real thing, and it's at Huntsville. So if you're young enough, or if you're older and have kids, ever have a chance to go to Space Camp, that's where it is. Huntsville, Alabama. It's pretty cool. I've been there. I've taken the tour. Haven't been there as a kid. I didn't do the Space Camp thing, but I got to do the tour, and I would love to do it again. They have quite a display. Lots of stuff to see there. Anyway, actually I think I probably have some pictures from when I took my my oldest daughter there, who was born there, who was actually born in Huntsville. And we were stationed there in 1981. So, anyway, that's a pretty cool rocket. It's not full size, but it's pretty darn close. All right, we got to get rolling. We have 349 miles to go. By the way, I'll do a review on this later. I bought a new dash cam. It's probably backwards, isn't it? Yeah. It's a Garmin Dash Cam 45. And my old dash cam finally gave up the ghost weeks ago. And I've been running without what I consider without the protection of a dash cam. And what I mean by that is it's like insurance. The dash cam is your silent witness when some doofus does something stupid in front of you and you have an accident. It's their fault. But you know, it's always the truck's fault. It's always the truck driver's fault. So it's just self-defense. And I tell you, I have not. I've almost always had a dash cam. Unfortunately, I haven't needed it to prove anything. Wow, that sun is kind of bright. Let's see if that helps at all. Should I turn my face like that? Does that do something? Anyway, yeah, I've been fortunate. Wow, what is the deal with the washout? Holy moly! Here, get out of my way. But you never know, and I've had some close calls recently, and I'm like, God, I need to get a dash cam. Need to get a dash cam. So I did a bunch of research, read some reviews, checked some specs, and I got that one. And I'm gonna get it installed. It won't be installed today. It's got a stick-on thing with a magnet. I am a little apprehensive about that. I'll explain that later. But anyway, once you mount that self-adhesive backed magnet, it's got a cure for 24 hours. So I won't be mounting it today. And just FYI, I don't do my videoing with a dash cam for the most part. I've used footage from my dash cam in some of my videos, but I use a GoPro. Use a GoPro camera. That thing. Oh, geez, that's gonna be all washed out. Yeah. GoPro. Yeah, I need to get a new one of those too. This one's on its last legs. It's pretty beat up. And it's really old. I mean, it's a 3, Hero 3 Plus. And the 4 came out, the 5 came out, now the 6 is out. I don't know what I'm gonna get, but because I'm gonna do some research on that. So, anyway, like I said, got to get rolling. I got to get this magnet thing mounted up quick, and then be on down the road. What is that washout from? My goodness! Holy moly! We are rolling out of this rest area welcome center here at the just south of the Alabama-Tennessee state line. Head south. Here we are, coming up on our delivery location up here on the left. Yep, this is it. It's been a long day. I'm tired. So made the delivery and then drove about, I don't know, 50 miles or so to this little truck stop here back at the interstate, I-65. So I'm shut down. By the way, I stopped today at another couple of rest areas actually, and I got some brochures. Well, I guess that's probably in reverse. Here's a brochure on the U.S. Space and Rocket Center at Huntsville, and it does say home of Space Camp since 1982. I didn't know that it was in 1982. I left in 1982, so I guess early 1982, I think. When was that? Was it 1982? Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, but the name of the Space Center for the space program in NASA is the George C. Marshall. Hold on, I just had it. I had it a second ago. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't find this now. Hang on. Okay, finally got to the right page. It's the NASA George C. Marshall Space Flight Center at Huntsville, Alabama. So that's, I was aware of that when I was stationed at Redstone Arsenal. I was aware of some of the history. So there's a lot more there, a lot more to see. I went back and see, my daughter and I took a vacation and we drove there. I'm trying to remember when that was. It was in the 90s. It was probably 97, 96 or 97. Oh my gosh, that's 20 years ago. She was a teenager then. She's grown, married, has a kid, got a career. 20 years ago. Oh my God. Okay, enough of that. Anyway, I'm tired. Calling it a night. See you guys tomorrow. And you could hear and feel those things. It was like a low intensity earthquake.